Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? I hope you're all well. Today I'm going to be taking you through pivot tables. I'm just going to share a document with you. We have prepared data that are going to be using. So here's what we'll be having. We'll be having, just wait a moment as I share the data with you. So just want this to be a very short video. So we're going to be having this document. Okay. Hope you can all see the document. Here we have the date, ID, salesperson's name and sales, amount of sales that the person has sold. So we have all these names. Martha is appearing several times. Then there is also almost everyone is appearing more than once. So what we want to do, we want to use the pivot tables in order to summarize sales done by each individual, mainly based on the ID of the person who has done the sales. So if you see the format of the IDs, they mimic the data that is usually presented on IDs for people in Zimbabwe. So I'm going to use that information to, it was randomly generated. So if you happen to see an ID that is almost similar to yours, it was randomly generated. It was not actual information that was used. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here. We select this whole table as it. Then you go to insert. When you go to insert, then we click on pivot table. You click OK. So with this in place, we can click here. After you produce this one, you can use pivot tables when it's like this. It can come up, but a more effective way of dealing with pivot tables is when you click the right click, then you go to display. Then when you go to display, you click classic pivot tables. These are more handy. They allow dragging and dropping of information. So here, what you then do is you then take this information. You want the ID, is it? Then also the sales, is it? Then maybe you need the salesperson's name again, maybe before or after the ID. You can choose where you want it to appear. So if you now have this information, you go on column A, you right click, then you say subtotal, salesperson's name, then you just click so that it doesn't show all those subtotals that were appearing. Let me just expand the information so that it can be more visible. I hope it's clear to you. So what it has done now, for all the sales that were done by Chris, it has summarized them into this total. Then for all the sales that were done by George, a summary has been given. Is it? So there is the summary of 1,964. Yes. So this is a simple way of doing pivot tables. You can be having various parameters, like maybe the dates you want the days to appear on the column, so that because we had the two different years that were appearing. So you could say you want all those years to appear. Even for December 2023, you may want information to appear maybe monthly, quarterly, in various ways. So here in first quarter, it only showed January because that was the only month that was showing. Even if you go to the data, is it? So here we have January. In the first quarter, you won't see March or February here. No wonder why there was no information that was shown on the table for the other months. So that's why we have seen for the first quarter. So you can even split your information per month if you want to see how much was sold by which salesperson for each of the months. Is it? So here we have also 2024. We only have for January 2024. That's why it is showing only information for 2024. So you can always retract this. Sorry, excuse me. So you can even have it, or even if you want to delete information for the quarters, right? We want to delete for the years. You can even delete the information for the years. Then you're left with the days summarized in months. So here it can even combine for all the months of January, even if it's for separate years. Is it? So this is one way of dealing with pivot tables. So I'm just going to remove this one so that at least we're left with the original information that we have. Here I'm going to show you another way of dealing with pivot tables. Most of you already know how to use pivot tables, might not know this thing I'm about to show you. You may have a sales table, a table where you have the ID of the salesperson, the name of the salesperson, then also the information for the sales. Then you may have another table that now has the information of the salespeople, like the address, and you now need to combine this table and this table, is it, when you now do your summaries, is it? So how you go about it now is this. You first get to this table, you select this whole table. After you've selected it, then you format this table, is it? You format this table. Sorry, just a second. You format this table. I'm just going to just allow me to, yeah. You go to this table, then you go to say insert, then a table. You insert a table for this. So you format this into a table. After you've formatted it as a table, you select the whole table that you want to refer to. Then maybe for this table, you name it sales underscore table. Okay. And then when you say sales underscore table, you now have this information as this is the name of the table. It's written table name at the corner. Then you go to addresses. When you go to addresses, you also name this table. So you go to insert, then you put table. Then after you've selected, you just confirm whether it's writing the correct information here. So if it's correct, then you click OK. Then for this one, you may say addresses. Addresses underscore table. Yeah, so you can see when I'm writing underscore, usually when you're doing, even in general programming, or when you're doing naming tables or lists in Excel, you may need to use a hyphen where you would normally use a space bar. This keeps the integrity of the name, since when referring to a name, you do not have to have spaces. It may distort the reference to that name. So it needs to be a continuous string, like in that case where you have the addresses table. So I've named both tables that we want to refer to. So after, these are the tables, is it? So I want to create, so this one we can call it pivot 1. Then I'm going to want to do a pivot 2, where we're combining information both for the sales data and the addresses, is it? So here I go to data, Then when I've gone to data, I click on relationships. When I've clicked on relationships, they appear here. And then when I click on relationships, then I go to new. When I go to new, there are two tables which we can have. There is the main table and there is the related table. So here we can see that our main table is actually the sales data table. And this related table, which will be called the primary key, is where you have the IDs that are referring maybe to the name and also the addresses of the people, is it? On the sales data, we may have had information where there's only the ID and sales, and we want to borrow the names that are listed on column B and C and addresses. However, we already have names on the other table. So the only thing that we want to pick from the addresses table is the address, is it? So we go here on the table. So the table that we first get is the sales table. Sales table, then we connect using the ID, because we know that the common thing between these two tables is the ID. Then we now pick the related table, which will be the addresses table. Then the related key again is the ID, is it? Because the names might be similar, but the IDs definitely they'll vary, because everyone is allocated a unique ID number by the government of Zimbabwe. So we now go here, we press OK. After we press OK, these two tables are now related. So we can choose either table, we can either choose to do our pivot table from here or the other table. Then we go here, we say pivot table. Then we don't just press OK like we did last time. We now go here where it says use this workbooks data model. Remember, when we established that relationship between those two tables, we actually established a data model which can be used in making our pivot tables. Then we click here and we press OK. Then after that, we right click here, we go to pivot table options, we go on display. Then on display, we click classic pivot tables, allows layout, enables dragging of views in the grid. So it makes it a bit handy. Then here I'm going to call it pivot 2. Pivot 2. Okay. So here on pivot 2, you can see that we now have two references. It's different from what we had when we did the first table. It just had only one reference here. It only had one reference. So here we are just dealing with the two table reference. We have the addresses table and the sales table. So on the addresses, on the sales table, we may say we want the IDs. We drag and drop the IDs. Then we click the salesperson's name. We put it there. Let me just expand this information so that at least it's more visible. I'm going to put a font size of 18. Then after that, I'm going to go here, right click, then I put it like this. So we now have Chris's ID. We now want to have his cells also. So put the cells in this grid. So we now have Chris. This is the information similar to what we had here, is it? But now the only difference is that now on the original table, because we hadn't yet established the data model, we cannot put the addresses here using the pivot tables. But now, because here we had created a data model, there now appears the information for the table. So here, I'm just going to change here because it hadn't clarified. So here we have address. I think it's going to allow us to pick information from here. So let me just refresh so that it picks. Okay, here it says salesperson number 2, it's information for the address. I'm just going to put it here. Okay, then here we say we go here on the ID, subtotal ID. Yes. So here it was supposed to be labeled address, and it should be able to update if I do a refresh. Yes, it now shows the updated information. Say you've skipped something and you make changes and you want them to appear on the new table. After you've made the change, you just go and do a right click. After you do a right click, you then refresh. That information will now update like what it has done there. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, this is it on pivot tables. You could choose to even use the filter up there. There's a filter that you could use. Say you want to filter information, you want to put more columns, like for the dates as we had shown earlier. It's still possible for you to do the splits for the, you know, for the years. You could put off the year. Maybe you don't want the actual days, you just want the months, to be giving you the options where you can only be showing your months throughout the, or if you want to filter, you filter by the months, is it? You can go here, you can go here, you can say, I want only data that relates. So here you can go on the months. May say select multiple items if you want. Then you might say, I only want information that relates to January, is it? So only 3 people sold something in January. You can be filtering your information. Maybe you want January and August, for whatever reason, in doing your analysis, you can have all that. And the way you want to return all the information, you can just select all, then all the information returns. So this is a way to apply pivot tables. They can allow you to do multiple analysis for different periods, for different classes of information that you might need to use. What I challenge you to do is, if you find a new piece of information, that try to see whether you can apply various pivot table techniques to it. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to make my video too long. I'm going to stop our lesson here so that we meet next time. All the best. Bye.